There is a $12 bottle of sunscreen sitting at your local drugstore right now. It has been sitting there for years. Dermatologists buy it, skin cancer researchers use it, and the women spending $80, $120, even $200 on luxury SPF have absolutely no idea it exists. That is not an accident. The sunscreen industry has spent decades making sure you associate protection with price. The higher the number on the tag, the safer you feel. The fancier the packaging, the more you trust it. But here is what the brand at the Sephora counter is never going to tell you. SPF is a regulated number. It is not a feeling. It is not a brand. It is a measurement that the FDA controls, and every sunscreen on the market, whether it costs $8 or $180, has to pass the exact same standardized test to earn that number on the label. The chemistry is the same, the protection is the same. What changes is the story they sell around it. Today, I am going to show you exactly how 6 luxury sunscreen brands are robbing you blind, what they are actually charging you for, and then I am going to show you the $12 bottle that beats every single one of them on the science. Stay with me because number 4 on this list is the one that is going to make you genuinely angry. And the hidden gem at the end is the one dermatologists quietly recommend to their own families while publicly endorsing the expensive stuff. Let us start with how sunscreen actually works, because the industry is counting on you not knowing this. There are 2 types of UV filters used in sunscreen: chemical filters and mineral filters. Chemical filters work by absorbing UV radiation and converting it into heat. The active molecules doing this job are things like avobenzone, octinoxate, octisalate, and homosalate. These are standardized synthetic compounds. They are manufactured in industrial chemical plants, sold to cosmetic brands at commodity prices, and they work the same way whether they end up in a $9 bottle or a $150 serum. Mineral filters, meaning zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, work differently. They sit on top of the skin and physically scatter UV light before it penetrates. Both zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are off-patent ingredients that have been used in sunscreen formulations for decades. The wholesale cost of cosmetic-grade zinc oxide runs between $2 and $5 per kilogram. Enough for hundreds of bottles. When a brand charges you $80 for a zinc oxide sunscreen, they are not charging you for the zinc. They are charging you for the bottle, the box, the influencer campaign, and the story. Keep that in mind as we go through the list. Number 1. La Mer Soleil de la Mer Protective Lotion SPF 50. Price, $115 for 1.7 ounces. That works out to roughly $67 per ounce. The brand built its sunscreen line on the same mystique as its infamous Crème de la Mer moisturizer. The packaging is heavy, the product is smooth. The marketing leans on the idea that you are getting something fundamentally different from ordinary sun protection. But when you open the ingredient list, what you find is a standard chemical UV filter blend centered on avobenzone and homosalate. These are the same active molecules found in drugstore sunscreens costing under $15. The brand's signature Miracle Broth, the proprietary blend it uses to justify its prices across every product, has never been the subject of a published peer-reviewed clinical trial demonstrating measurable skin benefits. No independent lab has verified that it improves photoprotection beyond what the UV filters alone deliver. For $115, you are buying a beautifully packaged chemical sunscreen built on commodity ingredients and a 30-year-old mythology. The SPF 50 on that bottle required exactly the same standardized FDA testing that the $12 alternative passed. The number means the same thing in both cases. Number 2, Tatcha the Silk Sunscreen SPF 50. Price, $68 for 1.7 ounces. That is $40 per ounce. Tatcha has built one of the most successful brand stories in modern skincare around the idea of Japanese beauty ritual and centuries-old skin wisdom. The Silk sunscreen leans into this narrative with its lightweight finish and references to Japanese silk extracts and botanical blends. But here is the part Tatcha does not want you doing the math on. Unilever acquired Tatcha for a reported $500 million in 2019. That acquisition price reflects the value of the brand story, not the value of the formulation. The active UV filters in the Silk sunscreen are standard chemical filters available to any brand at industrial commodity prices. The silk-derived proteins and botanical extracts appearing in the formula are listed well below the active ingredients in concentration terms. Independent cosmetic chemists who have analysed the formula note that these botanical additions appear at levels too small to meaningfully alter skin outcomes. You are paying $40 per ounce for a standard SPF formula dressed in a cultural narrative that Unilever paid $500 million to own. The sunscreen in the bottle did not cost anywhere close to what you are paying for it. Number 3. SkinCeuticals Physical Fusion UV Defense SPF 50. Price, $42 for 1.7 ounces, roughly $24 per ounce. Now here is an interesting case because SkinCeuticals is the brand that earned its reputation on genuinely patented, peer-reviewed antioxidant science. The CE Ferulic Serum is one of the rare cases in skincare where a premium price is backed by published clinical data. But that scientific credibility does not automatically transfer to every product in the lineup. The Physical Fusion sunscreen is a zinc oxide and titanium dioxide formula. Both of those are off-patent commodity ingredients. The formula also contains a color-correcting tint, which is a feature, but not a feature that affects UV protection. No peer-reviewed trial has been published comparing the photoprotective outcomes of this specific formula against lower-cost zinc oxide sunscreens. The brand's reputation is doing a lot of work here. You are partially paying for the SkinCeuticals name and the trust it earned in a completely different product category. For consumers who want a mineral sunscreen with a tint, there are options at a fraction of this price using the exact same active ingredients at equivalent concentrations. Number 4. Augustinus Bader, the Sunscreen SPF 50. Price, $130 for 1.7 ounces. That is $76 per ounce, and this is the one I told you would make you angry. The brand's marketing for this product leans heavily on the TFC8 complex, the proprietary peptide blend that Augustinus Bader uses across its entire line. The claims attached to TFC8 suggest it supports skin renewal and cellular regeneration while you protect against UV damage. Here is the problem. As of the date of this video, there are no published peer-reviewed human clinical trials demonstrating that topical TFC8 penetrates the stratum corneum at meaningful concentrations and produces measurable skin renewal. Dr. Emily Chen, who holds a PhD in skin biology, has noted publicly that topical peptide delivery faces fundamental absorption barriers that current science has not solved. The peptides may improve surface texture and barrier function at the skin's outermost layer, but regeneration claims go significantly beyond what the published evidence supports. The UV filters in this formula are the same standardized chemical actives used across the industry. You are paying $76 per ounce for a standard SPF formula wrapped in unpublished peptide science, and some of the most expensive packaging in the beauty industry. The SPF 50 in this bottle is identical in protection level to the SPF 50 on a $12 drugstore tube. That is not an opinion. That is how FDA regulation works. Number 5. Drunk Elephant Umbra Tant Physical Daily Defense SPF 30. Price, $38 for 1.7 ounces, about $22 per ounce. Drunk Elephant built its brand on a concept called the Suspicious Six, a list of ingredients the brand avoids and uses as a marketing differentiator. The sunscreen leans on this clean formulation story alongside zinc oxide as its UV filter. But SPF 30 versus SPF 50 is a meaningful difference that often gets lost in brand marketing. SPF 30 blocks approximately 97% of UVB rays. SPF 50 blocks approximately 98%. For daily urban use, the difference is modest, but for extended outdoor exposure, the gap matters. More importantly, zinc oxide at the concentration used in this formula is the same zinc oxide available in drugstore mineral sunscreens at a third of the price. Shiseido acquired Drunk Elephant for $845 million, a valuation built on brand perception and marketing positioning. That acquisition cost is baked into every product price. When you buy the Umbra Taunt, a portion of what you are paying funds the ROI on an $845 million brand purchase. The zinc oxide on your face has no awareness of any of this. It scatters UV light exactly the same way it would coming out of a $14 tube. Number 6. Chanel UV Essential SPF 50. Price $75 for 1.1 ounces. At roughly $68 per ounce, this is the highest cost per ounce on this entire list, and Chanel is perhaps the purest example of what you are actually buying when you purchase luxury sunscreen. The active UV filter blend is a combination of avobenzone and other chemical absorbers. These are the exact same standardized molecules used in drugstore chemical sunscreens. The elegance of the texture is real, the scent is refined, the packaging is iconic. But none of those things affect UV protection. None of those things change what happens at the molecular level when UV radiation hits your skin. The Chanel name is doing $60 of work in that $75 price tag. The chemistry is doing roughly $15 worth of work, and the $15 chemistry is available at your pharmacy right now. Dermatologist surveys on sunscreen recommendation consistently show that the criteria used to evaluate sunscreen efficacy, broad spectrum protection, appropriate concentration of active filters, photostability of the formula, have no correlation with retail price. The most expensive sunscreen on this list does not have the highest UVA protection rating. In 2025, the Skin Research Institute of California's independent testing found that La Roche-Posay Anthelios, a mid-range drugstore brand, ranked highest in UVA protection among leading facial sunscreens tested. 6 luxury brands, combined marketing budgets in the hundreds of millions, and a $68 per ounce sunscreen from Chanel cannot outperform a brand that sells for under $30. Which brings us to the hidden gem. EltaMD UV Clear Broad Spectrum SPF 46, price $39 for 1.7 ounces, which works out to about $23 per ounce. But here is the thing, you can find it regularly for under $35, and dermatology office bulk pricing brings it even lower. This is the sunscreen that keeps showing up at the top of independent clinical testing, and it is not an accident. The formula combines 9% transparent zinc oxide with 7.5% octinoxate, creating a hybrid mineral chemical approach that delivers broad spectrum protection without the heavy white cast that pure mineral sunscreens often leave. The zinc oxide concentration is high enough to provide meaningful UVA protection, while the octinoxate handles UVB coverage efficiently. The formula is specifically designed for acne-prone and rosacea-prone skin, meaning it is non-comedogenic, fragrance-free, and built around a lightweight niacinamide base that actively supports barrier function while you wear it. In 2025, an independent laboratory study comparing sensory comfort of leading facial sunscreens on sensitive skin ranked EltaMD UV Clear at the top, with participants reporting significantly less stinging and irritation than competing products, including several luxury options tested in the same cohort. Dermatology clinics across North America use EltaMD UV Clear as their standard post-procedure recommendation. That is not a marketing claim. That is a purchasing decision made by medical professionals who are accountable for patient outcomes. They are not choosing LTMD because of the packaging. They are choosing it because when a patient's skin is compromised after a laser treatment or a chemical peel, this formula does not cause reactions, does not clog pores, and delivers the SPF protection it claims on the label. The National Eczema Association has recognized LTMD formulas, reflecting third-party validation of safety for the most sensitive skin, and it costs $23 per ounce against La Mer's $67, Chanel's $68, and Augustinus Bader's $76. Same SPF number, clinically validated comfort, medical grade trust, a fraction of the price. Here is the truth about the sunscreen industry that nobody with a financial stake in luxury SPF wants to say out loud. SPF is a regulated claim. Every brand that puts SPF 50 on a label passed the same FDA-mandated test. The UV filters doing the actual protecting are off patent commodity molecules sold to every brand from the same industrial suppliers. The difference between a $12 drugstore sunscreen and a $130 luxury sunscreen is not protection. It is fragrance, texture, packaging, brand story, and marketing budget. For most people, the best sunscreen is not the most expensive one. It is the one you will actually wear every single day because the texture feels good on your skin. Elta MD UV Clear checks every box, clinically validated, dermatologist recommended, medical grade safety profile, and at $23 per ounce, it costs less per use than the Chanel product that cannot match its UVA performance in independent testing. The $12 version I mentioned at the top, that is CeraVe Hydrating Mineral Sunscreen SPF 50, available at every drugstore in America, built on the same zinc oxide and titanium dioxide minerals as products costing 5 times more. The molecules do not know which bottle they are in. They just block UV light, and they do it just as well at $12 as they do at $130. If this video just saved you $100 on your next sunscreen purchase, hit the subscribe button. Because next week I am going inside the anti-aging cream industry, and the number I'm going to show you is going to completely change how you read an ingredient label forever. Turn on notifications. You do not want to miss that one.